Freedom of expression. Razan Ghazawi is almost certainly a prisoner of conscience, held solely for the peaceful expression of her legitimately held beliefs, said Anne Harrison, Amnesty International Middle East and North Africa Interim Deputy Director, AIUK, about the arrest of the Syro-American blogger. According to Amnesty International, Ghazawi blogged about human rights violations and campaigned for the release of fellow bloggers from jail. She was one of the few to blog under her actual name. She was arrested on her way to a workshop for media freedom in the Arab world. According to the Huffington Post, Ghazawi was charged with trying to incite sectarian strife, spreading false information, and weakening national sentiment, Hussein. She was one of many reporters to be arrested since the revolt against the Syrian President Bashar Assad began 9 months prior. Ghazawi's story is one of the many stories of violations of Article 19 from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 19 ensures every human the right to freedom of opinion and speech. The article specifically includes the right to receive and impart information and ideas through any media. The United Nations has a special rapporteur specifically to track these rights of expression. A special rapporteur is a non-paid expert for the United Nations that reports back about specific situations in a country. The special rapporteur maintains that journalism is essential to democracy, anyone can be considered a journalist, and, for journalism to be an effective profession, journalists require full rights and protection. He states that most violations of reporters' rights are outside of armed conflict and attack inconvenient information. Attacks are by the government and non-government groups. Journalists suffer from restricted rights, assault, slander, damaged equipment, death threats, and threats on their family. In particular, women are at risk of sexual assault, and online journalists receive more harassment and hacking. Lastly, 39 countries have been notified about suppressing reporters' rights, and there has been an increase of attacks on reporters covering protests in over 16 countries since 2011. This was all reported by the Special Rapporteur to the UN on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression, SR on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression. Violations of the right of expression are worldwide. In 2011, Amnesty International reported that Kadsi Murad Kamalov, publisher of the Chernovik, was shot outside of his office. The Chernovik paper addressed government corruption, inequality, and human rights violations outright. In Dagestan, threats to journalists are considered commonplace. Journalists have been accused of inciting hate and, in 2 years, at least 6 journalists have been killed. Another journalist was beaten by unknown assailants and threatened by law enforcement. According to the New York Times, Kamalov was shot at around midnight when he left his office by a pistol. After he fell, the assailant continued shooting Kamalov, demonstrating extreme brutality. Kamalov attempted grabbing his assailant's ankle even after being shot. He wound up dying of several bullet wounds in the ambulance. In Bahrain, prominent human rights activist Abdelhadi Al-Khawaja was sentenced to life. According to BBC, his family said that when he was arrested, he was beaten by the cops, not allowed family visits or to take his medications. The police broke his jaw in 4 places. Al-Khawaja was taken to a hospital where he was handcuffed to a bed, blindfolded, and beaten. Then, when detained in jail, guards beat and sexually harassed him. Al-Khawaja's trial was unfair and his testimony was taken while he was threatened. There was no evidence of him acting violently at the recent protests. Amnesty International reported that he was tried in a military court with 21 others, but 7 of them were tried in absentia when he was sentenced to life. Unfortunately, his daughter, Zainab Al-Khawaja, had to suffer a similar fate. Amnesty International reported that Zainab Al-Khawaja was arrested for peaceful protest. She was protesting when the other protesters were dispersed by tear gas and sound bombs. However, she remained sitting on the roundabout. The police then continued on to arrest her. According to Global Voices Online, there is a video on YouTube of Al-Khawaja being handcuffed by a policewoman, beaten in the face by another, then dragged to the van. Amnesty International said when a friend of hers tried to intervene, she too was arrested. Global Voices Online reported that Al-Khawaja was sprayed in the eyes, which blinded her for an hour. At the police station, she continued to receive beatings. During her trial, the prosecutor refused to acknowledge her testimony identifying the voices of the policewomen, the video of her arrest, and the injuries she incurred. According to Amnesty International, in the end, Al-Khawaja was charged with participating in a illegal gathering, contempt towards the government, and assaulting a cop. While violations of freedom of expression are great in number, so are the organizations that combat them. Article 19 is one organization that fights for the freedoms of opinion and expression. Their work includes defending the rights of people through advocacy, publishing, and campaigning. Ways for an individual to help include receiving the newsletter, spreading the word, donating, and/or interning. Journalists can also receive the press releases. This information and more can be found on the website article19.org. Another organization is Global Voices Advocacy. Their organization gives bloggers the tools to blog for the right of freedom of expression. Their website, advocacy.globalvoicesonline.org, teaches methods of blogging that call attention to and defend the rights of journalists. These are just a few of the ways you can make a difference in stopping this injustice. I implore you to aid this cause and stand up for these fundamental rights, the rights of expression. Works cited: Bahrain, call for release of blogger dragged away from peaceful protest. AI UK, Amnesty International, 19 December 2011, Web 03 October 2013. Global Voices Advocacy, Defending Free Speech Online, Global Voices Advocacy RSS, Global Voices Advocacy ND, Web 03 October 2013. Hussein Nasreen, Razan Ghazawi, U.S. Syria blogger, arrested. The Huffington Post, thehuffingtonpost.com, 13 December 2011, Web 22 October 2013. Karim Mona, Bahrain blogger Zainab Al-Khawaja brutally arrested. http advocacy.globalvoicesonline.org, Global Voices Online, 17 December 2011, Web 22 October 2013. Profile: Abdulhadi Al-Khawaja, BBC News, BBC, 09 April 2012, Web 22 October 2013. Russia, shocking murder of journalists in Dagestan must be properly investigated. AI UK, Amnesty International, 16 December 2011, Web 03 October 2013. Schwartz Michael, journalist is shot dead in Russia's North Caucasus region. NewYorkTimes.com, New York Times, 16 December 2011, Web 22 October 2013. SR on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression. SR on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression. United Nations ND, Web 03 October 2013. Syria, arrested blogger Razan Ghazawi condemned. AI UK, Amnesty International, 6 December 2011, Web 03 October 2013. Tanzania, newspapers banned amid increasing hostility towards free speech. Article 19, Defending Freedom of Expression and Information. Article 19 ND, Web 03 October 2013. United Nations, UN.org, by Frank L. Rue, United Nations, 4 June 2012, Web 3 October 2013.